Right, I'm initiating the project, trying to tidy up the paint a little bit on the 404. I have done this side before and it's got a little bit of dust on it now, but it's okay. This kind of standard I like to do. I've started with the coarse cutting on the back here, on the boot lid and inside the wings. I'm going to move around, do the rear fender. I'm going to focus on the back of the car for now, and I'm going to remove the roof rack and do the roof and the rear doors, the bottom of that. We did the top of this earlier. This is a little test thing, and we're going to do a pretty heavy job on the hood when we get the chance. And this fender is a little bit of a project, so we'll see how that turns out. You can see where the car's had touch-up paint jobs in the past. It's nice and shiny. Where it's a bit of a mismatch. This fender's obviously had a touch-up at some point, and I think it's had a dent, so they've put some filler on there. Let's see. Anyway, this is the original paint on the boot lid, and it's hard. It's so hard to polish. It's like polishing ceramic almost, or enamel. It's what would take 3 seconds on the Jag here. Just to demonstrate to a friend of mine, I polished here and got rid of all the scratches within a few seconds using the product. Whereas on this one, you can get rid of all the scratches, and I think through decades of different various tree saps and things have made acid stains in the paint. I'm just doing the best I can. This is already here before, but if you go too far, you're just going to polish straight through it, and there's still scratches even here where this is polished through. So it's too much. Heavy cutting would go simply through the paint, but what I don't like is this faded finish you have on the roof here. So we're going to try and get it all black so that the repainted sections here will match in nicer with this. And you can kind of see where I polished before here, going up here. And that's time being a luxury with a couple of kids and a job and all that stuff. I'm just going to do little sections at a time, but it's parked in here now with the intention to at least do the whole rear of the car and move up over the roof. And I'm going to leave it here until I've hopefully done the whole car, and that would be the end of this video. It's going to be this section is going to be nice to do up. You can see how faded this is, and I think this will be easier to polish up than the top layer. I think the tops have the most UVs, have the most direct contact. Dirt that's kind of mixed with the paint and whatnot. And the product I'm using, definitely not a promotion because I'm not paid, but what I'm trying out is the new H902 from Koch-Chemie. This is the 2nd generation one, which is supposed to have a bit more of a cutting effect for a longer time, and a fairly okay job on the top here. And we're going to do the bottom here, and when we're done with that, we're going to go with the fine finish to see if we can get a little bit more of a shine to it, and then we're going to cover it with a ceramic coating that will protect. It's kind of like a clear coating that will protect all these little defects that have developed. You can see up here that it's going to turn into surface rust if we don't protect that one way or another, and I'm hoping the ceramic coating will kind of just act as a clear coat. That's what we're talking about. Well, after hours and 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 hours of polishing, There's a little bit of a difference. Like, it isn't perfect, but definitely a difference. You can look at the, you can still see the shading in the paint. There's just nothing I can do about it. If I polish harder, it will go down to, well, that's was there before, but if you polish harder, you'll just go straight through to the undercoat. But the difference now is that it does have a shine to it. So I went over with another go polish on the top, and this is as good as it gets. I've now opened the new ceramic coating. I'm going to use this ceramic quartz protection. Expensive stuff. I've used it before, so I'm quite happy with this stuff. Car Pro 3.0. So put a bit of drops on the top there and apply it to the roof. So when applying this stuff, you just want a bit like that. It's a little rich, but just kind of make myself a square here, and then as that starts to flash, you wipe it off with a clean microfiber cloth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a go first over like this. I'm going to go like this to make sure we cover everything. And as that starts flashing, we're going to go over with the microfiber cloth. Oops. Like that. See, that's starting to flash already. Does not take long. Yeah, we're just going to wipe this off. Still some scratches in there, but yeah, so be it. Here you can see the here's the here's the ceramic, and here it hasn't been applied yet. And here the paint's poopy anyway, so, but you can see the difference. You can actually see a little bit of difference to the matteness as well, so good stuff. Right, I'm done polishing and I'm done applying the ceramic coating now. I'm very happy with the result. It's exactly what I hoped it would be, and that is a lot more shiny, and it reflects the light nicely. It's not perfect, it's got all the paint defects and everything in it still, but you know, it presents really nicely. This is kind of an oily rag car, and if I repainted it, first of all, it would cost a lot of money, and number two, it would it'd take something away from it. At that point, you really have to do the interior, do all the bright work and everything, but as a daily user, as something you can run around and not be too worried about, this is just perfect. The ceramic coating on these old single stage paints actually seems to work pretty well. I did the same on the Flaminia a couple of years ago, and that's kept really well, and of course that's bubbled and not used out in the sun all the time, but when I have used it and been out with it and washed it, it's done a really good job. So I'm hoping it will do the same for this 404. And just getting that super faded paint somewhat shiny again, and then applying the coating, which is sort of like a clear coat. You can definitely see difference. You see the defects still, and it's not 100%, but it's not been repainted. It's just, I've just been working on the existing paint, which was fairly poor. The roof as well got 3 coats, because it kind of seems for every coat it got a little bit darker, and everything little helps. But you can't see the repainted section as clearly as you could before. And the same goes for the doors. Here, when you stand a meter away, it's really hard to tell. You can probably see it more on the camera than you can do by eye right now, to be honest. Trunk lid was one of the hardest paints to polish. I've never polished anything as hard as this before. If I was to go over to the Alfa Romeo here, this literally just took a few minutes to polish, and I applied a little bit of, just polished it with the heavy cut, and then put a little bit of the polish on top and it just comes out. Of course, it's got defects in this from when it was painted, but it just came out really nicely, and it's a lot matter than what this was. But this paint is softer, much newer. This is probably in the 80s. That's the original paint that just turned rock hard. But I'm very happy with the result we have. This was very, very cloudy. Now it's, you know, it's shiny and somewhat black again, which is nice. So sauce behind the boot lid turned out really nice as well. And yeah, happy with that. It's gonna look the business with the roof rack coming back on. Of course, I had to take that off in order to polish the roof. I don't think that's had a good polish in forever, really, because the roof rack's been on there. But of course, not perfect, still has all its defect. And somebody has replaced the sill cover at the bottom at some point, because that is dark green, unlike the car, which is black. There we go. But that can stay the way it is for now. Next, maybe paint the rims, tidy that up, and it's actually looking pretty good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little 404 paint correction video, ceramic coat on old car, whatever you want to name it. I'm pretty happy with it. So until next time, have a good one.